Hello, this is the International News of Lucia Arden. I want to speak about geopolitics. I'm a specialist. Actually, I'm the first one that in America that talked about that word for years now, and they picked it up finally on the news since President Trump has got in, and I've written many books on geopolitics in relationship to the changing world. And I'm so excited because a gentleman has recognized what President Trump is doing, and that is actually lined up with my work. In God's power, America save our legacy. In God's miracle, in God first, our miracle, and that's for in God first. Country is our miracle. In God, in God's power, country save your legacy. These are my books, but I've been writing before President Trump got in and asked the people of the United States to put President Trump in before 2016. But here is the work that I've been working on to show you of my geopolitical strategy about integrating different nations. So here we are. Let me show you this beautiful clip, and we'll proceed.
Israel. This is something that I've been telling people for the last year, but people don't seem to understand. And what Trump is trying to do is saying that if you invest in America, in turn we will sell you military equipment and also things like AI.
That's what I was saying. I was saying that we need to look at every office of our tariffs in our integration of businesses. I said that, and to look at integration of everything and how we could integrate business with our countries that we don't know well and we do know well, and we want to be our friends. And because of the BRICS, because they're not exchanging oil or commodities under the American dollar anymore, and because of geopolitical powers. Let's go on.
Like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and the NVIDIA chip companies were all in Saudi. So it's a two-way street. And in terms of the Syrian leader, a lot of people are saying, well, he's a bad guy, he's a terrorist. Yes, he might be a bad guy and he might be a terrorist, but now he's America's bad guy.
And the thing is that this is what I was asking these people, Syria and even Afghanistan. We need to come to the table with these men and treat them like a man they should be, okay? Like they should be, and treat them and reflect to them the justice and the business, that fair business that could be. Same thing with Africa. I just met a lovely man from Africa here in Cyprus, and he had to leave Africa because Africa is not being fair with their people. The same thing. They need to be treated like respect at a table with good, conservative, honest men like President Trump and all the companies, Amazon, Elon Musk, all the companies that are good conservative companies, and come to the table with these countries to make new businesses and not have corruption and not hurt the people. Let's go on.
Trump has said to the Syrian leader, if you get rid of Hamas and if you take control of the country and introduce democracy, we will lift sanctions. When you take Syria away from Russia and Iran, they become isolated. So they have no choice but to come to the negotiating table, which will lead to the end of war in Ukraine and Russia, and hopefully the collapse of the Islamic Republic or a nuclear deal. Trump.
See, this is great. This is great. This is what we want, and that's Trump was seeing everything because he knows Syria. He knows he's diplomatic. He's a diplomatic leader, but he's a negotiator of contracts in business, and that's what we need in America. And that's what I was saying. It's a business. So a business, America's a business, and we need to come together in truth and reconciliation. And I want to show you it all relates. So before we go on, it all relates to what we need to come together about America, and how we need to be in integration of truth and reconciliation. My name's Lucia Arden, and I wanted to show you that that this is a very serious thing about, it's related to all geopolitics. Not only geopolitical economy is also related to geopolitical sociology in your own country. And it's a very serious thing that we need to realize what has gone on with America and all the countries. So let me show you another clip that's related. See this, right, is related. See this, see this. The people have gotten in our borders because the borders were open, and those people, Kamal and Biden, are part of the democratic elite communists, that the hierarchies that are hooked up with Russia and China. Are you with me? And in Iran, secret groups, and this is because in Islamists they wanted to take over each area of state of our country. Do you understand? It's very explicit now, and also they're trying to take over UK, Sweden, Ireland, all those areas, Australia. We need to stop this. They need to save their country. This was a world power of, just like Putin said. Putin said we're already in World War III. Even though I disagree with Putin, I told him he should be ashamed because he's chosen by God as a great Russian leader, and he should have stopped the wars in the beginning. But no, it's because they want to take over. That's why they didn't stop the war with Hamas, because Iran supports them, and they didn't want to stop the war with Russia because they want World War III. Do you understand? To take over and set up and try to take all the countries away. Let's go on. Let's see this. Islamic thugs shut down Grand Central. They stand for nothing but hate, destruction. How did so many get into USA? And this is the same thing that's related to the situation of the war. So this book I'm reading from, see, God America our miracle. God first. Countries are our miracle. God is justice, and we each need to come individually together, and then together, and see that we need to come individually to God, to our life. Are we pursuing justice? All the leaders, and they have an answer with right now. They have an answer. They want to put in the leader in God's power. Country save our legacy. They want to put in the leader of the king that had to leave his country, Iran. They want to make him the leader for Iran. So let's get going here and show you the work of my work that I've done for many years now, to show you. And I've done many writings, but let's go on to show you what it says. It says, recognizing the globalization has caused many geopolitical power, geopolitical economy, technology, globalization, and 9 criminal billionaire cartels internationally in China is the number approximately, and brings all the crime to America and our borders and other people and elite communists. This is very serious. We do not want to be elite communists. They've started this problem with coming across the nations, all across the nations, to start trouble, to take world control. Just like Putin said, we're in World War III. Geopolitical power, geopolitical economy, geopolitical military, and geopolitical culture, they all have to be balanced nowadays because they're all related. Do you understand? And they use many different people and strategies to control. And that's what they're doing now, as I told you. That's why they didn't stop the war in Russia. They didn't stop the war in Israel, because they want World War III. They want to take over these nations. Are you with me? And that's why that CCP virus, CCP vaccination, and that's why Russia and Iran and China are together. And China just brought some planes to Iran. And this is the special chart, pillars of paradigms of power. And nowadays, that's what we have. We have a pillar of power of technology is the highest. Then we have pillar regulations of law, that's the low. We need more regulations and law. So if we're not able to make the law, we need to make our friends right away, which President Trump is doing, I'm asking, through businesses. And that's why he says, you don't need war. You have all the commodities and business you can exchange. It's in my book. I said that before, years ago, before this book I wrote this about what to do and how to solve the problems. Pillar of existence of daily life. And there's so many different people of globalization, multiculturalism, and imbalance of the leaders and what leaders want World War III, such as Putin and Hamas, backed by Iran. They're all together. That's why I try to explain to you that Iran is together with China and Russia. And in Iran, it's Iran, China, Russia, and Iran. And we have to be careful because Africa needs ethics. And ethics, in every country needs ethics, but Africa's in between, and they're making missiles for Russia and South Africa. We need to be careful of this. And we need to take those out. And they need to wake up, Africa, and have good leaders and not kill the white people of farmers that help them exist, but come together on the table of truth. See, geopolitical powers, geopolitical economy, G7 and BRICS, 50 countries. This was written when there was 50 countries in the BRICS. The 123 countries are applying to BRICS. But because we are not part of the BRICS anymore, we are part of G7, and we need to come together with that truth and understanding. And there's globalization. See, just as I said, there's globalization and 9 billionaire companies that control an elite criminals. And those elite criminals are considered some of the politicians, such as Allah Khomeini in Iran, the president of Iran, that people don't want to accept. They want him gone, the Iranian people. And even in Africa, he was in the meeting I saw today in a social media that one of his leaders said that he doesn't want any more conflict. But I heard that the president of Africa is not up front. Can he change? He's a Nebuchadnezzar on the field with a beast that will lose. Actually, he's losing his Africa because you know why he's losing his Africa? He's not supporting the people. So he's not making Africa the best he can. And this is very important. He's not making Africa the best he can. You know why? Because he's limiting it. And as I told you, Africa has the most commodities in the whole world. They have liquid gas, they have crude oil, and they have gold. And they're not. They have so much that needs to be uplifted and found, but they're corrupt. And so we need to take care of that, and we can never give up. We have to get a leader that's excellent. Like I worked for many years to get President Trump in. I worked for many, many years, Lucia Arden, to get President Trump in. Borders in general are geopolitical power. Please see the definition of geopolitical. Borders are very important now for this problem with geopolitical powers and the wars. And not only borders for immigrants, but borders of the country that you're bordered against of nuclear attacks and military tools. That's why Saudi Arabia, just like he said yesterday, I told you that nuclear. When you're mentioning nuclear, you're in war with the world. But that's what I was saying in President Trump, and I was saying it's very serious. Obviously, you can't have nuclear, but Iran is almost finished of making a nuclear weapon, which is very serious. There are geopolitical powers that we need to overcome. We need to protect our borders, not only the borders for immigrants, but the borders to work together from nation to nation. And that's why President Trump wants to work with all these countries to come together to build allies and businesses instead of war. And that's what I was saying. In my business, I said this, that you don't need to use any more war. You have commodities and business. Lucia Arden, that's her coin idea. Pillars of existence, economic control, stopping communication with lockdowns, globalization. Today, there are globalizations and multicultural belief systems, many populations in different belief systems, and most people do not understand the systems, geopolitical power, geopolitical controls, and geopolitical ideologies that want to control America and other countries. We can't afford. Why would we want to allow Iran president to control Iran and control our world by threatening us with nuclear warfare? And they almost have enough uranium for Hiroshima. That's why they took it down, Iran, right now. They don't say this, but they almost have enough uranium to make a Hiroshima. But they have other places, as I told you years ago, that I want FBI and people integrate in those places, and CIA and secret services to go into those countries and act like a layperson and find out where those what they're doing, and they are doing it. They're trying to pinpoint the leaders, which they have took down, Netanyahu. But Netanyahu is protecting the world because Iran wants to take people down with nuclear warfare. Are you with me? This is very serious, and they might have nuclear warfare other places. Even in America, there'll be office set up. Why did China bring those 2 airplanes to Iran? What are they? Are they the people? Are they the people? Are they the armies? It's a very serious. We have to outline geopolitical information and understand that we could overtake this through the power of business, of commodities and businesses, which I said instead of war. And that's my work. It's in my book. The Chinese political powers, Russia, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, and geopolitical powers, India and Germany. Those are the areas in Africa that we need to work with and come to friends and to understand that, yes, experts and alike know that the contradiction of the catalyst to companies' actions and positions, and now that we have actions of geopolitical powers evident, factual, from just to state to believing what's happening. But we could use trade. We do not need, that's what I said, we could use trade. See all these companies that make the most money? We have trade. We don't need to use we do not need to use war to solve problems. That's what President Trump was doing. And that's what I asked, because I'm a top presidential advisor and I'm a supply chain economist. I call myself a politician. And this is what I was saying, that we live in an era where the interplay between states and corporate power shapes the reality of international relations, international problems, geopolitical powers, more than ever in the combination with the current nationalist, protectionist backlash with Iran, backlash with Russia, backlash with Hamas in large parts of the world. This may yet lead to rival of global rivalries, states using corporations to achieve geopolitical goals. That's what we're doing. And an increasingly hostile environment and powerful corporations perhaps using more aggressive strategies to extract profits as a response. And that's what Africa does. Africa should never kill those white farmers, and we need to step back into Africa and ask to get on the tables of truth, and that leaders